On the note of all things going and coming back, something I mentioned the other day was the like the infinite multiple dimension things. I didn't hear most of what you were talking about. Some dream where you saw like...
Basically, I just had a dream where I went somewhere in the morning with someone, and then I went to that same place later in the day with other people, and I could see myself there in the morning through the window as if I was actually there, and then I like met or like had direct eye contact with myself through the window as if I was contacting my past self.
Yeah. So the thing that I ended up rambling about a bit was because things like perception are relative and time is relative because it's part of perception, and if everything like time is relative, that means that as much as it's going forwards from one cause and effect chain into another all the way through, it's also all simultaneous. So everything is already kind of exists, but not like it's here, but it's all variations of things are happening all at once, and every possible variation of all things is going to happen until eventually it all converges on, okay, we did it all, and then it goes again. So it's confusing. But like, if there is something that we can call, like the way that we, like modern, I guess the scientific community, or even the old ancient scriptures of different spiritual practices and whatever, if they talk about something like there are infinite possibilities and infinite dimensions or whatever, and like as if there are parallel realities of some form, that actually implies in itself, despite not saying it directly, that it's all happening at the same time, and what's going on is it parallels off into all of the infinite parallel realities that it's talking about, and those have to happen at the same time. Obviously, that's what they're called, parallel. They're happening in like unified or parallel to each other and branching off and etc. But ultimately, if those parallel realities exist, they don't splice off infinitely, but rather converge. They would, like, those infinite realities have to ebb and flow in the same way that all things do. It's infinite in the sense that there's no limit on it that you can put, but it's limited in the sense that it's all at once coming from and going to the same place, and that's what makes it infinite. I don't know. That's hard to say using words. But yeah, so if there are, I guess the simple version for practical purposes is, if there are infinite realities and there are infinite versions of us, it's infinite versions of us that are all simultaneously learning. We're all at the same wavelength, you could say, or going through the same patterns, and it has to be simultaneous. So every event that's like an evolution to us, like when we learn something or we have that epiphany or get to like another stage in our own development as a person, that energetic match has to be across all parallel versions of us, if we can still call them us, otherwise they're not us. So they have to be simultaneously parallel to us and equal to us, meaning their evolutions are all happening at the same time, meaning that it also includes the evolution of our passing on from this life, the end of it, meaning like our death would be all at the same time, meaning every single life is a spreading out into infinite and then converging to the same moment, like converging on the same evolutionary points over and over again, including death and including rebirths, and like all the time. And that's like the heartbeat of the universe would be like trillions of times a second. It's that's the heartbeat, but it's every single one of them is all simultaneous across all parallel realities. In the same way that like there are, we can only see and feel and hear and whatever so much, and there's such a huge range of perception that we don't have access to, even with our equipment. Like a hammerhead shark still has better electroreceptivity than any equipment we can build today, and we're still learning that animals can do and see and perceive and live in such different ways than we do, that we don't even know how to possibly make a tool to measure it, because even if we measured it, we wouldn't even be able to interpret it, and like all this other stuff, like it's just beyond us. So like almost everything that exists in the universe is not stuff we can perceive at all. So there's just so much. So that heartbeat is like we're a fraction of reality. Like a human life is humanity itself is such a tiny piece of Earth. Like we're not a significant factor, no matter how much we think we are. We are to us. Like we're the most important things to us because we are us. Like, humans are the most important thing to humans because we're humans. But like to the universe,
and we're the only
like,
things that can announce how important we are.
Yeah.
To
like,
ourselves.
We give meaning to ourselves by being ourselves, and that so to us we can say things like, "Oh, we got to save the planet" or something, in a really superficial, just us level, when we're like an insignificant nothingness to the planet. But to us, to be on the planet, we got to do what we got to do to be on the planet.
And we really know how much we've destroyed it from our point of view.
From like humanity's perspective, we screwed up. But humanity, people in general, individuals, think that they have screwed up things, like so much guilt and shame and fear. So it makes sense that we would perpetuate that onto any scale. Like, the whole, God didn't make us in his image, we made God in our image, like that whole thing. We're doing the same thing with every possible issue that we could think of on every scale. And yet everything's just going for us to, like, to just beat and be like, how do we want to, like, our free will isn't like that we can do anything. Our free will is, here's a heartbeat, 1/1,000,000th of a second, and you have all the choice in the world to be in this exact moment, just this 1/1,000,000th of a second, to be totally at peace, serene with it, balanced, aware, etc., or be agitated, uncomfortable, disconcerted, whatever, discordant, etc. You can be in harmony with things, or you can be messed up by things. That's your choice. That's where free will is. That's the only decision you ever have to make, and then everything else follows from there. If you respond to things, react to things in any other way, the decision happened at the trillionth of a second level. How do I want to be? Not what do I do, how do I want to be? And then from there, trillions of times a second, how are you being in each of those dictates what you do that second. And that's the free will that a human has. That's where all of the power of a human being is you can only have power if you're aware. If you're not in the moment, you can't use that moment to do anything. So you have to be in the moment. So that little heartbeat, that's the speck of the universe that we get to live the universe through, or see the universe through our little eyes for a trillionth of a second at a time. And just be like, cool. What do we want to do with it?